Now, I know that Game Week 1 isn't even over yet, but I feel like there's already plenty to talk about. So in this video, we're going to go through players to buy and avoid ahead of Game Week 2. Oh, we are so back. Right, we've got clean sheet odds then, courtesy of Elevenify. I'll leave a link in the description below. I'm showing here clean sheet odds for every team for the next 5 game weeks. So I would say this is a good projection for the defenses that look strong or not. Now, I'm recording this, well, ahead of the Man City Wolves game and before obviously Man United play Arsenal. That's tomorrow. So Arsenal are top of the clean sheet odds at the moment, but does that suggest that they're going to keep a load of clean sheets? I don't know. We haven't seen them play yet, so I'll reserve judgment on the Arsenal defence. So we'll avoid talking about them for the time being. Liverpool, though, are a team I wanted to focus on. I don't think they were very good at all defensively against Bournemouth. I don't know how you felt, but for me, I think they were pretty poor. They actually started, I'd say, with genuinely 2 players that actually wanted to defend in that game. Those 2 being Van Dijk and Konate. Konate had a bit of a stinker. And to be honest, for me, that sort of suggests that they're almost definitely going to be in the market. But they already have obviously signed a young centre-back. But it wouldn't surprise me to see them sign Mark Guéhi as well, which does concern me a little bit as well for the Crystal Palace defence, because I think, okay, he's probably their best defender, isn't he? So does that have a negative impact on their defence as well? You know, the knock-on effects of that transfer, potentially. But yeah, I'd just in general be a little bit concerned about the Liverpool defence. Obviously, Kirkez and Frimpong being sub before 60 is not ideal as well. Van Dijk got 20 defensive contributions in total in that game, so he's still got the DEFCON points, but they did obviously concede the 2 goals as well. Semenyo sort of ran rings around them for the second goal, didn't he? Just in general, as a Van Dijk owner, I'd probably keep hold. If I had Frimpong or Kirkez, though, I'd start to get a little bit worried, because both of these guys, I don't think they had their best games on Friday night, and they both have genuine competition for their position as well. Bradley coming back fit for Liverpool to go up against Frimpong, and obviously Robertson for Kirkhead. So there's definitely challenges for their spots. Just be a little bit dubious, I guess, on the Liverpool defence. Just going back to other defences, obviously Konsa getting sent off of Villa would not be favourable for Konsa owners, but I can't imagine too many people have Villa defenders that aren't Konsa. And if you have him, you just keep him, right? Let him serve a suspension and have him back. West Ham were not convincing at all. 3-goal ship to Sunderland. If you've got a Juve or a Wan-Bissaka, I wouldn't get too knee-jerky yet, but you're probably a little bit worried about them going forwards, because that was a game where you thought there's probably a clean sheet in this one, and obviously didn't happen. I'd probably say that's it for sort of talking points on defences for the time being, so we'll move on to the attack. This video is sponsored by Fantasy Football Hub. You can sign up to Fantasy Football Hub, 50% off using the link in the description below, and if you don't win your mini-league this season, there's a condition that Fantasy Football Hub will refund you your annual subscription if you don't win your mini-league. There's expected points data. All of the expected points data and underlying data you see from these players is available on Fantasy Football Hub, and you can use their tool to get your team AI rated too. All right, then moving on to the attacks. Now, I'm recording this as just before the Man City Wolves game kicks off. So whatever happens in that game, I'm not going to cover in this video, but we can talk about it in the comments. Regardless, though, they're still the top team for expected or projected goals, according to Elevenify. I'd still be a little bit dubious of who's going to play every week for Man City, but I have a hunch that it's probably going to be Marmoush and Haaland that play most weeks. And I think, regardless, to be honest, unless they get injured against Wolves, I think both of them are still going to be good options. Liverpool second, their attack was good, wasn't it, against Bournemouth? Let's be honest, I'm going to talk about a fair few Liverpool players here. Chelsea, still to play, we'll see how they get on. Likewise, Arsenal. Spurs had a good game. I haven't spoken about any Spurs players in particular yet, because the jury's still out for me. Kudus with a couple of assists, Brennan Johnson with a goal, and Richarlison with 2 goals as well. All of these guys having really good games against Burnley. And also, I'm still not 100% sure on all of these assets myself. I think Richarlison with competition from Solanke, he might have a run of the games in the team for another couple. But if he starts, underperforming, I think Solanke's back in the team. Kudus off to a good start, for 6.5 million, couple of assists against Burnley. You can't really ask for much more than that. And Brennan Johnson, he had a good season last year as well, and he's continuing that. As a player, I do quite like Brennan Johnson. And I think, early sort of good form and good performances might stick in Thomas Frank's mind to make these players quite nailed. So I think Kudus and Brennan Johnson in particular, alongside probably Solanke at some point, is going to be his sort of favoured attack, I would suggest. Any other teams to note? Probably not from the games that we've seen so far. Obviously, Sunderland with a few goals against West Ham. Their projections going forwards are not so good. I'd be a little bit worried about a player from Sunderland, but we'll talk about him in a second. Okay, so the first player I wanted to talk about is Antoine Semenyo. Now, he was probably underselected, I'd say, because of that Liverpool fixture in game week 1. I'm pleased to have mentioned him in my differentials video. I think he was a great shout if you wanted to take... Well, he's not even a punt, because he's guaranteed to get goals in the Premier League, in my opinion. He's such a wonderful player. And the fixtures he's got coming up now, I think are actually really good. You know, Wolves, Tottenham, Brighton, Newcastle. Decent set of fixtures there. Fixtures where I think he can score goals. If he can score at Anfield against Liverpool, I think that pretty much suggests he can score against anyone. Good season last year. You know, 2 goals against Liverpool. I don't need to say much more than that. If you saw the game, you would have seen how, you know, impactful he was in the game. Yeah, the guy's a really good player, okay? And I think at 7 million, there's competition at that price point, namely Rodgers and obviously the 6.5 million midfielders as well. But he is definitely another option to sort of stick in that hat. And he took a really good penalty. I think it was a Goodison last season, wasn't it? Kluivert, I think, got some minutes in that game as well. He's the first choice. I just have a feeling that he could, if Kluivert's not on the pitch, he could take a penalty for Bournemouth as well. But regardless, you know, Semenyo is a really strong option and someone I'd be considering. I think we've got to talk about Ekitike. He had a really good game against Bournemouth, I think. Looked just like a really solid, accomplished Liverpool-level centre-forward, in my opinion. He's got the size, bit of pace, bit of strength. Just kind of had it all, really. Scored a goal, got an assist, accumulated over 1 XG as well, which I think is a good sign. They created some good chances for him. 1.36 currently expected returns per 90 in the Premier League. We'll see how long that sort of holds up for. Fixtures for Liverpool coming up are not absolutely amazing. Newcastle and Arsenal in the next 2, but I always find at the start of the season, there are less clean sheets in the league than we get earlier on, with teams sort of, they're new on the block in terms of the way they play, players they have, and they get found out a little bit as the season goes on, I find. That might be nothing in that at all, and that's fair enough. But I think you wouldn't rule out Ekitike being able to score against Newcastle and Arsenal. The only problem you have with Ekitike, of course, is Isak, right? Now, he's refusing to play at Newcastle. I haven't seen that another bid has come in for him from Liverpool. And if I was Liverpool or their sporting director or whatever, I'd be a little bit hesitant about bringing in a striker to play ahead of Ekitike. What was he? I think he was like 80 million, 70, 80 million. A big sum of money. And to spend that on a player that, you know, I've heard he can play on the left. But, I mean, if you saw him last night, I think this guy is an out-and-out centre-forward. It'd be a real shame for him to see Isak sign for Liverpool. And I think I'd just be a little bit uncomfortable picking him with the transfer window still being open. I think if the window closes and Isak hasn't signed, this guy's going to be a great option because I think he's the best player that can play in that sort of centre-forward number 9 position for Liverpool. But until that deadline, you're just a little bit dubious as to whether he's going to play every game. Another player I really like the look of in that game was obviously Cody Gakpo. Now, he didn't have all that many chances, but I think one thing you can say about Cody Gakpo, and it was the same, I think he played for PSV, wasn't it, before, or a Dutch team before he signed for Liverpool. I might be wrong as to who he played for before. But he is a player consistently across his career that has outperformed his underlying data. So when you see he scored a goal from 0.18 XG, well, he scored 10 from 7 last season. He is just such a clinical finisher that he will consistently outperform those underlying numbers. He's obviously got the same fixtures coming up as Ekitike does. A couple difficult ones and then they get easier. I was really impressed with Gakpo. And I think 7.5 for a player that's going to be playing in the Liverpool attack, for at least the foreseeable. Now, he's really the only player that you can hang your hat on to play on that left side of the attack, I think. He obviously played the full 90 in that game as well, which I think was quite telling. Yeah, I really like Gakpo in that game. I thought what was particularly promising is that he played the full 90. You know, he stayed on the pitch after Ekitike got subbed off. So I think I'm not reading too much into that, but it suggests to me that Arne Slot's not terribly comfortable playing another player on the left-hand side of the attack yet. Yeah, I really liked what I saw from Cody Gakpo. Now, I admit, I'm getting ahead of myself with this one because he's not in the Man City 50 or the squad for this game. He did travel with them apparently, but he's not in the squad. I do just, when he's back, I just want to talk about Rodri, right? Because I think he could be a really good option in this game. The jury's out, I guess, as to whether he's exactly the same player because he's had a really serious injury. But I think the stats that he put up in his last full season in the Premier League, plus the DEFCON points that you'd expect him to get, I think it could make him one of, if not the best 6.5 million midfielder in the game. He got 18 attacking returns, right, in the 23-24 season, the last time he played a full season. and this is courtesy again of FPL Tom Hadley. You look at his defensive contribution points, right? He hit DEFCON points in that season where he got 18 attacking returns. He hit it 47% of the time, right? And in that season, if DEFCONs were part of the game, he'd have got 5.8 points per game, right? So that is basically a striker scoring a goal per game. And that's what Rodri achieved that season. You know, you can see there, percent of games with 4+ points. 65% of games, he scored 4 or more points in that season. Yeah, I think he could be a really good option. When he's back fit and playing for Man City, I know he's not yet, he's not in the squad, whatever, but I just wanted to drop the seed of Rodri, because now we're in the game, you know, we're able to make decisions on our transfers and plan for that. I think he's someone to consider later on. A couple more bits to go through. I must say, I'm a little bit worried about Mark Gu. Little bit worried about him. He still is a Chelsea player here, but it doesn't matter. It's just the easy graphic. He didn't feature at all for Sunderland. Both Mayenda and Isidore scored, so the other two players sort of vying for that position. Both of them obviously playing. Gu playing 0 minutes. Suggests the pecking order of strikers or forwards at the moment for Sunderland. This guy's 4.5 million. He is quite popular in the game. I would right now be a little bit concerned about his price dropping and him not getting any minutes for Sunderland. That's my current worry. I was hoping to maybe be able to bench boost in game week 2 if he got some minutes and played, but that hasn't come to fruition. So I'm not panicking. I don't think I'm going to sell him, because who do you sell him for? Maybe Krupi Jr. of Bournemouth, but even then he's not going to start, is he? So I think, yeah, for me, a little bit disappointed in the minutes from Mark Gu. And I wouldn't say he's an absolute avoid, but yeah, I'd be a little bit concerned as to his price dropping with him not featuring for Sunderland. The other two strikers scoring, and thus a lot of people selling him. Felt like a high school essay, that one, but I think you know what I mean. Finally, I just wanted to take a quick look at the Fantasy Football Hub predicted points for Game Week 2. So again, if you want to sign up to Fantasy Football Hub to see this data for yourself, 50% off, money back if you don't win your mini league, link top of the description. Saka is the top player alongside Salah for expected points. Again, we'll see how Arsenal get on against Man United. But given that Saka has the Leeds fixture and Salah has Newcastle, you know, fixtures-wise, you'd probably pick Saka. And maybe performance-wise at the moment, you're picking Salah. But I just thought it was interesting to see Saka and is that high up in terms of expected points. So I think those that have picked Saka, I'd be interested based on what you've seen from Salah as to whether you're still interested in captaining him for Game Week 2, if you were even thinking about that anyway. Haaland is 3rd, Palmer is 4th, Isak, I mean, do we think Isak's going to play for Newcastle again? What is happening there? Like, yeah, it's a mad situation what's going on there. I wonder if he's actually ever going to play for Newcastle again, because if you look at any of the opinions from the Newcastle fans, they absolutely hate him now. So, and well, if you're a Newcastle fan, let me know in the comments your thoughts on Isak, what he's done, and if you think he's ever going to play for your club again. And then, of course, we got Gyökeres, I think that's how you pronounce it, who's got the same fixture as Saka. I think the interesting one, particularly about these two Arsenal attackers, is who's going to take penalties. Because I think if you've got, both of these guys are probably going to play regularly. I doubt Gyökeres is going to completely, you know, drop an absolute stinker every game. I think he's going to start most games and get good goals from open play. But I think if he takes penalties, 9 million, striker, playing every game for Arsenal, taking penalties, you guarantee sort of 15 to 20 goals. That's probably better, given he's got the penalties, than Saka. So, yeah, I think we'll be watching the Arsenal v Man United game, waiting to see, well, I've got a soft spot for United, as you probably know, waiting to see if they get a penalty and who takes it, I'd suggest, because, yeah, if one of them's a penalty taker, they're the best Arsenal asset in the game, aren't they? But, yeah, I just thought that'd be useful to talk through. All right, well, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed that and found it useful. Let me know if you did by leaving a like rating, and let me know in the comments if there's any players I didn't talk about. Like I said, I'm making this just as the Man City Wolves game kicks off. So I can't comment too much on that game at the moment, but we can have a discussion about it in the comments if you like. And I'll be live tomorrow morning for a quick Game Week 1 reaction of all of the stuff that's happened so far. And yeah, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Goal and Goal YouTube channel. Should be around there on your screen. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you in my next video.